Hello, I'm Neil, and this is Owen, our in-house service course technician and a former downhill pro mechanic for people like...
Mike Jones, Joe Smith, Taylor Vernon.
Amazing. And today we're talking about the stupidest things about modern bikes, and there's a few. All right, modern bikes are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
I actually think they are, but aesthetically they look great, don't they? But they must be a dream to work on as well. We'll get into that. I'll start with my own really annoying thing about modern bikes is I think they've become harder to ride no-handed. Am I alone here? There's something about it. I ride my road bike and you can read a newspaper, but you get on your mountain bike and you try and stick your goggles on and the front wheel just wants to flop over.
Maybe they're too slack?
I think so. It's got to be that or like the offset or something about them. I'm not sure. Let me know down below if you can't ride your bike no-handed anymore or if I'm losing my skills. It could be that. We'll start off, we've got a list here of things that are really annoying, and let's start with small rear brake rotors. Why are they so small?
I don't know. I think it's like maybe it's a weight saving thing, or yeah.
Because I think you use them more than your front. People shout at me in the past for skills videos where I'm like, actually, you get your weight back when you're on brake hard, your weight's over the rear tyre, it's always your rear brake that gets really hot, and it's your rear brake pads that wear out so quick. Yeah,
no, it is. And I think it's, well, I'm going to say Marshy actually started the ball rolling in terms of thinking about it. So Greg's old mechanic, yeah, he was kind of saying why everything else you've got matchy in terms of on motorbikes, it's always like same size in general. And then I tried it. Obviously, you've got to test yourself. And I'm not an amazing rider, so I do drag my rear brake more. And essentially, if you're going into a corner, you're going to drag your rear brake, maybe. Bad habit, maybe. But yeah, it does get more use. I don't know why it's a thing, though. It's odd. Yeah, I always like to run as big as I can on that bike. Some bikes can't take the big ones anyway. But talking about rear brakes as well, this is your list, Owen. I'm looking through here. Here next, you've got flat mount rear brake calipers. I mean, you see these on cross-country bikes, road bikes, come from road. Yep.
Why don't you like it?
I just find it a pain in the bum to set up. It's really awkward because of where the bolts are and where the pad is in relation. It's kind of awkward to set up. And it just feels like it works to make a little compact caliper on a road bike, but on a mountain bike, we don't need that. We're okay. We've got two standards already. So yeah,
true. I mean, I agree. Actually, centering your rear is something I'm really specific about. My rotor's got to be dead straight and it's got to be in the middle. I hate it when they rub. It drives me nuts. And it's just easy if you've got the bolt on top and you can just do that. Next on your list, when you've got mixed fixture bolt sizes for cockpits.
Yeah, I think a good example is recently setting up a cockpit. We'd got a 5mm for the top cap, 4mm for the stem, Torx for the brakes, then a 3mm for the dropper post, and I feel like there was another. Maybe there's like a T15 to adjust some other.
No one needs a T15.
No, they're out there though. So, but I think it's more opposed to just having 4mm for everything. You've got to have.
I was going to say that's what you want, 4mm. I mean, you don't get any sort of centre one on your stem cap, do you? They're all 5, are they?
No, you can get 4 ones there as well. I mean,
4's got to be the standard from now on. Let's make it a thing.
Yeah.
Non-removable valve cores. I've never come across these.
Yeah, I've found them lots on kind of, well, just on generic wheels or generic tubeless wheels from like brand ones. And I guess it's just it's a way for a brand to maybe do a bit of a shortcut, so as a consumer you get a better price, but you have to.
How much? Come on.
Pence.
Because that's the way I always do it. When I'm inflating a tubeless tyre first time, I always take the valve core out and boom. Yeah, no, I think you've got to. And for some sealants, it's like the only way to stick it in. So to then not have a removable valve core, it's always at the end where you kind of like cool sealants in, ready to go, and then you're like, oh. Yeah. My frustration there. Sorry. Hopefully everyone's going to watch this. All these bike manufacturers are going to sit there and I think this is the video to watch.
Hopefully, that'd be amazing.
What about mega wide bars on extra small and medium bikes?
So I'm a bit of a barist in terms of, I'm obviously not massive.
Yeah. What's your go-to width then for a handlebar? On a trail bike, let's say.
Probably like 740, 750.
Ooh.
Which I'm not sure if that's super narrow anymore.
So I'm 750 guy actually. I do go 755 on a downhill bike, but that's quite narrow, I think.
I think it is. I remember cutting riders' bars down to 745-ish, 755. But then you'd see kids on like a local trail, like maybe Ashton Court or something, and they're on the full 810s, and I'm just a bit
I don't get
not
it.
sure they're going to get a good
it's the first thing I do.
experience.
New bike, get the hacksaw right. I used to do it without the guide as well. You just could freestyle it. You know what I mean?
I'm all about the pipe car.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, nice and round. Obviously, it doesn't work on carbon, so.
But when you've got your grips on, you can't see anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I remember doing a bike check with Sam Hill's Enduro Mega. I remember sitting on it thinking, that's exactly how it should feel. And I don't know what way they were about that, 755, maybe 760, but it was like, everything felt good. Levers in the right position. There you go.
Yeah.
Now we're moving on to frames again, and we're talking about mud shelves and lack of tyre clearance you've written down here.
Yeah. I mean, there was a trend back in the kind of like 90s and 2000s of, as newer suspension bikes were coming out, that it was all about getting a chainstay really short to pseudo help with climbing. I'm not sure if it necessarily does, and help with feel, but that meant that there was always kind of like a compromise in terms of mud clearance. And I think where bikes are ridden in the States, they're not really ridden in the mud, whereas in the UK
we are dealing with a lot of mud at the moment. Yeah. So even that sticky mud, I guess, is the problem.
Yeah.
I guess the standard is sort of 2.4 for a lot of people now on the width of your rear tyre. So I've got some bikes that have got plenty of clearance, so it's never going to be a problem. But
I think some of the UK designed bikes where they've kind of built it almost around 2.6, then you can go down to 2.4, means you've got acres of room. Well, not acres, but you've got enough. But I think there's still some brands out there that are aiming for like super short back ends and compromising, not just tyre clearance, but then creating that like a perfect shelf for mud just to build up. Yeah. I'm not happy about that.
I mean, whilst we're on the clearance, we're going to get into it. This is the big one. Everyone wants to hear about standards. It's the most exciting thing that ever happens.
It is, always.
But it drives me nuts if I've got a bike and have I got wide or super wide cranks? What's my BB width? What is my rear axle? What size rear hub?
Yeah.
What is standard nowadays for a rear hub? 148?
148. I'd say boost.
That's boost.
Boost, yeah, which is now standard. So yeah.
But we got super boost.
Yeah, there is Super Boost, which is sometimes DH standard too, even though there's old DH standard.
What's old DH standard?
It used to be 150, but with a different bottom
bracket. Which is almost 148, so you could bend the frame a bit.
If it was steel, you could get stuck in, so yeah.
But 157's now the downhill standard.
But it's on some XC bikes too.
Oh, right, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it does help with chainstay clearance, so it comes back. If you go for Super Boost because it's square at the back, you're not having to pinch in as much. Okay. But then it might affect Q factor, which is this wonderful.
Does anyone care about Q factor? I don't care. It's like,
ooh.
I mean, nothing's too wide where I'm like, this is really, really wide. Do you know what I mean?
So one rider, Joe, noticed a difference in Q factor. Like he hopped on a bike and genuinely he felt the difference.
But felt one was better than the other?
No, he could feel the difference.
Okay, well,
that doesn't necessarily mean it's better or worse, but he could feel the difference. I think that's hats off to Joe. He was like amazing at noticing small differences. Is it better or worse? Yeah. I think you can get used to it. I think for cross country then, maybe having it narrower if you're smaller makes sense.
It does make sense, but whether or not it makes any performance gain is my point.
Oh, and that's, completely valid. Yeah, no.
No, let's get in. We're getting into aesthetics now. When I first got my first internally headset routed cable bikes, I'm like, what's all the fuss about? It looks amazing. So if it looks amazing, it must be amazing to work on.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
What happens if how often, what are you doing? You're changing maybe a gear, outer cable, then it's tricky?
I think it's, unfortunately, it's like this amazing can of worms. So you start at, okay, I'm going to change my just gear cable and shifter cable, which if it's all routed okay the first time round and say like it's got foams in to stop it rattling, if it's just loose, you can get some of the guide kits, like Park do one that threads in and you can pull the routing through.
Yeah, I get it.
But often there's routing through the chainstay on suspension bikes and then it gets a bit complicated.
Yeah.
So you've got to
come out of the framing into that bit.
Yeah, so you've got to take bottom bracket out. So then you're already sort of getting confusing. I think it's worse on rear brakes though, is because of the way that the cable is, it sort of gets a bit kinked and it can get caught at about a 90-degree angle. So essentially if you're having to do anything with the rear brake or you want to change your stem length and then it's now not long enough.
That's a problem. And you've chopped down your brake hoses and you've got hardly any room to manoeuvre.
Yeah, you don't have any. So it's new hose time as well. So,
well, that's the 5-minute job's now turned into a 2-hour expensive job.
Then you've got to talk about headsets, which I know is, again, it's one of these slightly dull topics, a bit like standards. No one really cares about headsets at all until they go wrong.
True.
And basically, they didn't go wrong for ages. Like, lots of brands did really good jobs of making them really well sealed and The bearings are really high quality, and even if they did go wrong, you could get replacements easy.
It was easy, whop it out. Well, it falls out basically, and you stick a new one in.
But then when you've got cables through, you've got to then detach everything because it's got to go through a tiny headset bearing. So, yeah.
What about, you know, the new SRAM brakes? You've seen those, where they're called Stealth as well, where they come out right next to the bar. Do you think, I don't know this, but do you think that's to help with headset routing? They're thinking, we'll make this super neat.
I think it is. I heard some rumours a couple of years ago that it was all going to be going, into bars.
Internal, okay.
Yeah, internal,
like
into the
roadies
bars,
do that?
like roadies. Yeah.
That's
so into
tricky.
the bars, into the stem. It looks incredibly clean.
It does. I mean, I've done it on my road bike. I went fancy and I got all the Di2 bits, but it's tricky. So you've got to buy the right length thing to go round here, through there, and up then, all over the place, just to make it look nice.
And I think with Di2 and all with Axis, like the looking nice, it totally works because it's all clean and it all works really well. With cables, I'm actually a big fan of cable gears. I think they're great because they're
me too.
Simple, easy to adjust, like value is there. But yeah, running those through a headset bearing is not stellar. So, yeah.
I mean, the final thing on our list, I've kind of put this one here as well, is they're just freaking expensive. Modern bikes are freaking expensive. You get to work on some of the best road bikes and mountain bikes, all the fanciest kit in the whole wide world. Are they better because they are more expensive, or just? I mean, talking about build, you know, logistically putting these things together rather than ride. You can debate that all day long, but from a mechanic's point of view, are these really fancy bikes nicer to work on?
I would. I mean, the short answer is no. Like, for a mechanic, they're there just to. This is like quoting another mechanic, but as a bike mechanic, you're there to fix bikes. So if the bike is really hard to put together, well, okay, that's frustrating at the time, but that's what you're there for. Are you paying for kind of aesthetics over function? At some high prices, maybe.
There's definitely some of that.
So,
but I mean, some of the kit these days seems much higher quality. So you'd hope a drivetrain's gonna. I mean, drivetrain's kind of separate because they haven't changed that much. But I guess talking about frames, you'd hope they'd last longer. If they're, I don't know if that's the case, really.
I think it's tricky. I think for me, it's always that thing of. I don't put out many watts, you might put out more. Some of the roadies will know exactly on which day of each week they put the max watts out, which is great, good luck to them.
Great.
But like we are, like the bike is human powered. Okay, even with e-bikes, maybe less so, but with a regular acoustic bike, how much effort you put in is, comes straight back out. So if you're buying a lighter bike, it's still going to give you a bit more horsepower, which I know kind of like, yes, it's marginal gain. So do you need to spend 15 grand on that?
Well,
maybe.
People are.
Maybe not.
As much as we kind of can look down our noses and say, that's crazy, but people do spend that money.
Yeah, they do.
And what I love about it nowadays is you can spend a couple of grand and get an amazing bike that you'll jump on. I do it sometimes and think, wow, why would you buy anything else? Because these things are amazing.
And I think that is probably the thing, is the experience. And if the experience for you is better on a more expensive bike and you get more joy out of it, crack on.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
if you're then judging people who are having a really amazing experience on their kind of like cheaper bike, well, maybe that's not cool. But just ride bikes is good.
So let us know if you agree with us down in the comments down below. If we've missed something blaringly obvious that is way more stupid than anything we've talked about today, there's got to be something.
Yeah, there probably will.
Get involved in the comments down below and we'll get in there as well and try and answer some of your questions as well. Thanks for watching.